Welcome on into a Let's Play with Timberborn Update 6. I am super excited about this update. There's a couple of very big changes in this between the new wonders that are available, three-dimensional water physics that, if you weren't already familiar, the way that water used to work is it was basically a layer that started from the bottom and then would work its way up. And this led to a couple of different issues, one of the biggest of which is that you couldn't make aqueducts. And so if I wanted to, maybe shift water from one end of the map to the other by just setting up a nice little aqueduct, that wasn't something that I was able to do with the prior version. There's also now overhangs that you can set up and a few other really nice improvements. So I'm super excited about this update, super excited to get into this Let's Play. If you are new to the game, I will definitely be explaining a few little tips and tricks and so forth as we go through, as well as some of the little mechanics. But I am going to assume that you've at least played a little bit on the game. In any event, let's get in and do this. I'm going to create a brand new game. I'm going to use Folktails. It's my preferred of the factions, and then I'm going to go with Canyon here as the map. I've played this a little bit before in the past that I had actually started up a little bit of a Let's Play with Update 5. And so now I'm just going to restart this with Update 6. I really like the canyon that's set up here, all these really high walls. I think this is going to be a lot of fun to play with, especially because one of the big things I want to do eventually is to start to do some irrigation up on these higher levels here that I'm typically not one to do a lot of leveling. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to play around with plenty of dynamite, but I don't often do a lot of leveling. So I want to work with the topography here as much as possible. And then I'm going to go with normal mode here. I prefer normal over hard. That one of the things that I find with hard is just it's not so much the length of the droughts and the bad tides. It's the length of time of the temperate seasons that I just feel like those are just too short, and so you're just constantly having to deal with yet another drought and yet another bad tide. So that's just me. First question, as always, what should we name this? And I'm gonna go with Beaver High Canyon as my name. That'll work. Let's go ahead and hit start. And I'm going to hit pause here. And let's go through and see what we've got as far as a map goes. Over here is our one water source. So really not a lot of water on this map. So that's our one water source that we have over there. Over here, we've got our bit of ruins for some metal. And then if I keep scrolling around, we've got a mine available over here. Going to take a little bit to get up to that level-wise. And then some additional metal. We've got one bad water source over here on the left, or maybe the west of the map. Maybe we'll kind of just tilt this way. We'll call this west. We'll call this east over here. And then down here on the southwest corner, yet another mineable spot. And then if I keep scrolling around, we've got even more metal, and then we've got a couple of other bad water sources right down there. Okay, now a little bit of a strategy thing that I'm going to approach this map with. One of the first things is we don't have a really easy ability to cordon this off and get rid of this bad water right away. That we're going to notice that we're in the middle of this, canyon. It's not just a clever title. So we are going to have to deal with bad water during bad tides running right down Main Street. That's just nothing that we can really do about that. So we'll have to kind of live with that by making sure that we're planning on setting up the barriers along the way here. And then the other thing about this map is we don't have easy ability to set up a little inlet for a bit of irrigation, that we do have this space over here. So what I'm going to work on doing is, and I like to use paths to mark things off, is I'm going to right here set up some levees so that way we can let this area flood out and then, or fill up rather, and then I'm going to use this space for food, and use this space over here for forestry, and then up here I'm going to put in my housing, and then I'll figure out where I'm going to put my industry at some point as we move along. I'll probably start with it over here and then relocate it as we go. That is one of the other things that you're going to notice is especially in the early game, my number one focus is just on getting items down, and then I'm going to worry about making everything prettier later. So early game, let's just get down our housing, let's just get down our storage, and then we'll worry about more permanent solutions as time goes on. If you're new to the game, I think the real keys right away are, of course, number one, water, making sure that you both have water for your beavers to drink, but also for irrigation during droughts. So one of the first things that you'll want to make sure that you do is to block off an area in your water source. So I'm going to just block this off right here, and I'm going to put a path right across, just like this. And for the time being, this one right here, I'm going to pause this, make sure that we don't accidentally build that. So this is going to help keep us in water when that first drought comes around. So kind of want to find a good spot for that right away and get that placed. We also want, there we go, to get some pumping going so that way we can get some water for our beavers to drink. And let's see. Yeah, let's just go one on each side for the time being. And already missing the picker mod. One of the other updates to this is mods are now available on Steam. Used to be that you would have to go to mod.io to go get your mods, but now they're available on Steam. One of my favorites is the picker mod. So that way, if I'm, try to do something and I see this is the item that I want, I could hit Control click on it, and then it would give me that mod or that item to be able to build right away. Saves a little bit of time of having to click around and find it, and unfortunately, that's now no longer there, or at least not yet. It'll be back. Okay, but in the meantime, I've got my water pump set up. I'm going to pause the other one and then get myself a little bit of storage. So that's number one. Number two is food. And I'm going to get this set up by getting my gatherer flag. And let's tuck this maybe right about here. Just kind of tuck this out of the way. I think that's a perfect spot for it. And those will gather up the berries. One of the other really big things that we want to make sure that we do right away is to get some planting of crops going. I'm going to just mark this off right here. This will eventually become some carrots, and maybe I'll put some potatoes over here on this side. But you do want to be self-sufficient as quick as possible on food, because the amount of berries that you have here aren't going to last all that long. And on top of that, if you're playing on hard mode, where that first drought is going to come pretty quick, making sure, or actually, I should restate that. If you're playing on hard mode, you're going to notice that you've got fewer starting resources. So making sure that you can grow your own as quick as possible is really key to success. So let me get some carrots. I'll just plant it just like that. So now I've got my food, and then the last is going to be getting logs, because that's going to allow you to build all of the things. And I'm going to do that by just marking this area up here for cutting, and then let's get a couple of lumberjack flags to get those going. So this is kind of my typical initial setup here is let me get some logs going, let me get this, and then there is some water with some initial storage. And I think we're good. Okay, let's go ahead and let this play. Now, some of the updates into to update 6 that we're now going to notice is we do have now this brand new kind of ending monument here that will do different things. So in this case, it will help make the beavers extra happy. Happiness does help then drive productivity. So this is sort of the ending item here as a way to mark that you're done with the map. This is obviously going to take us a little while. 2,000 gears, 2,000 of the treated planks, and then 1,500 of the metal. What the heck are those things called now? What are those called? Metal blocks. There we go. So we need an awful lot to get that going. And then we're also going to notice on the landscaping here that we're also going to have these sluices. I think that's how that's pronounced. That's the word that I'm going to go with, which is a little bit of an alternative to a dam, allows for you to control water discharge. So we'll be playing around with those a little bit. And then we also have impenetrable floors, so that way you can move water around. And then somewhere in here, center structures? Yeah, somewhere in here, we're also going to not only have some updated metal platforms, but we'll also have some overhangs. So that way that can act as, like it does, as a bridge or foundation for other buildings. And I'm really excited to get in and play around with some of that. I definitely see some uses for that. Let's readjust right here into my mountain and maybe be able to build out to here, kind of have a little bit of an overhang here, maybe flood this out so that way we can irrigate this. I'm really excited. I'm really jazzed to get in and start working on this map. One of the other really big things is they've updated, I guess one of the little small things is they've updated some of the animations here. So what we're going to notice is when this little beaver here comes over to build an item, we'll give him a moment to walk on over. Let's see, are we close to being done here? Not quite. Okay, yeah. Well, we're still going to get that little bit of an animation. So you'll notice he's got his little hammer, and he goes ahead and hammers on the item to build it. We'll also notice that when it comes time to do some planting, that we've got the little hats on the farmers are really very cute, and I think a very nice touch. That prior to this update, I think it was just haulers were the only ones that had any form of a special outfit. And now we're going to see that we've got those very nice little animations, and then we'll also have outfits for a lot of the different jobs. So does the gatherer have? He does not seem to have anything there. Okay. Cool. Let's see. I'm going to do a couple of other things. Right over here, I can see I've got 3 unemployed beavers. So I'm going to put one more into the district center. If you're not already familiar, the district center, any beavers that are assigned to the district center will also act as builders. That unlike some other games where people that are unemployed will just inherently start building stuff, that's not the way that this game works. So they need to be marked as builders, either with a builder's hut, which you can find here inside of district management, or by marking them inside the district center. So if you want to kind of keep things moving a little bit faster as far as building goes, then increase the number of workers here on the district center. And the other big thing I want to do, because getting logs right away is key to keeping things moving, is let me get another lumberjack flag. While we're waiting for that lumberjack flag to get built, it's worth highlighting that on those little flags for like the gatherer, the lumberjack, and I think also, I'm just going to double check this. for the scavenger flag to go get metal, that none of those require any resources. So you can absolutely set those up wherever it is that you might want. And that way, if I've maybe got a whole bunch of trees or I've got a whole bunch of berries that I want to clear out real quick, that I can just add in another flag and do that again without any cost. All right, I always forget this. I always forget to set that. There we go. Okay, we are looking good. And let's see, will you reach down here as well? You will. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and mark all of these trees down here for cutting. One little note about cutting trees is trees will automatically grow back if there are other trees that are next to them. So you can do like a little bit of a barber pole or maybe like a striped approach where you're leaving trees behind so that way they will grow back. When you move up to hard mode, it's definitely going to be very important to kind of manage the number of trees that you're cutting down because you're going to have a limited number of those. I find on normal mode that that's not necessarily as important. Definitely something to keep in mind, but it's not going to be as important. So I'm not worried about this little block over here. I'm going to go ahead and just cut all of those down. All right, and I'm also noticing we're not gathering any berries. I don't have any storage for that, and I'm just going to set up a medium warehouse. I personally don't ever utilize, where's my berries? I call them blueberries. I think they look like blueberries. Berries. I personally don't typically use the small items, the small warehouses, because I don't find that they really give me a good ROI there. That this is 3 logs, it'll give me 30. This is 15 logs, 5 times more, but I'm getting, 7 times as much storage, 6 times as much storage. So I typically will use the medium warehouse. I also find that 30 is just not a whole heck of a lot. And that definitely comes true when we're talking about water storage, that 30 is just not a lot of water storage, that you typically need 2 water per day per beaver. So having more storage, especially on hard mode, where you're going to have that those droughts coming really quick and really long, you want more water storage. All right. We're just about done cutting up trees up here. And so now I'm going to turn my attention to housing. Housing isn't as important, to get right away. Because the beavers can sleep on the ground for a little bit. But now that we're starting to get a little bit established, I want to get some housing. So I'm going to put the housing up here. And for right now, I'm just going to go with the 4 here for the 12 beavers that I have. And I'll grow this out. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and grow it out now. I think I'm okay. We'll just go like that, and then give me my path. There we go. Okay. Now, like I said, I'm very much of a, let me just plant these things and I'll come back and deal with all of this later. I'll make it all pretty later. So that's what I'm going to do a little bit later, is just worry about making that pretty then. I'm now noticing that we are sitting around. My beavers up there that are on the loggers are sitting down, and the reason for that is because these are full of logs, so they don't have any storage anywhere to put them. There we go. See, 20 out of 20. So let me give them something to do. Let's start building out my dam here, and I think this is reachable. Yeah. There we go. And let's go ahead and start speeding things up to get things moving. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and build this other water pump. Okay. We are looking good. we have full employment here. And actually, you know what? I'm going to prioritize my housing here because I want to get my housing built before the dams get built. That the dams are important to be sure, but I don't need to worry too much because I'm still going to have a little bit before that first drought, and I can manage that when it comes. So let's mark some more trees for chopping. And let's clean up that space there. Not that it matters if you leave it behind, but I don't know. It's just me. I like to have that cleaned. And then let me... Oops. Where do I want to be? I want to be here. There we go. Let me go ahead and get some trees over here cut. I'm going to go ahead and cut half the trees over here. I'm going to hang on to the others just in case. All right. Now I've kind of forgotten because I'm moving a little bit too fast here. Let's see. Yeah, there's nothing to do there. Let's go ahead and delete that one. Can you not reach out to there? You can't. That's fine. I'm not going to worry about it. But I forgot to build science. I'm going to need science. Because in order for me to science. There we go. In order for me to get self-sufficient on building out trees, we're going to need science. So let's get some science set up. Let's just put my inventors back here for the time being. And let's get these built pretty quick. There we go. And I'm going to need some more lumberjack flax. I do really like the animations there. So notice he's gnawing away on that tree to go ahead and cut that down. Love that. And so now we can get some science built because the science will then allow us to get to the forester. So the forester is what's going to allow you to plant trees. So I'm going to just set this up right here. Once we've got the science to do that. Now you're going to notice that on that forester that we do need to have planks. And so planks are going to require a little bit of manufacturing. And that's going to be on my lumber mill. And that lumber mill is also going to require some power. And I think I'm going to put this out here. And let me pause this for the moment. And then let's get a water wheel of power. Okay. Now on the water wheels, it's going to generate power based on the water flow. So kind of keep an eye on how fast it looks like things are moving to give you a sense of how much power this is going to generate. You can also utilize the hamster-driven power wheel, the hamster-driven. I call it a hamster wheel in my head. The beaver-driven power wheel. You can also do this as well, but the catch is that it's both 40 logs, which I think is, granted, it's 10 less than here, but that's still a fair bit of logs, and it also doesn't necessarily offer a ton of power. So because it only gives you 50, whereas this will give you whatever the water will give you. So I will typically put down a water wheel, and then I'll just sort of deal with not having power during the droughts, or if I desperately need power, then I'll go ahead and do that. Let's see. Let's finish out the dam, and then I'll turn my attention to this. Because I can't do anything with this until we've got some science, and we're still waiting on science. And so since we're waiting, let me go ahead and speed things up a little bit here. There we go. Okay. Let's see. That's got all the logs that it needs, and that needs 20 logs. And where did I mark for cutting? Okay, yeah, we still have plenty of logs there. And I think if I put a logger over here, that I'd also be able to access these. Yeah, that would give us a little bit. So, but in the meantime, this is just about finished. Perfect. And so now I've got my dam. So when the drought comes, this space here will hang on to water. It will keep all of this irrigated, and it will allow us to keep pumping water. Excellent. And I think I'm going to go ahead and knock that down to 2. And let's see, how are we doing? We've got 12 carrots. Is that a storage issue? No. Although we are going to have a storage issue eventually. So let's go ahead and get a warehouse built right up here to store our carrots. That'll be kind of longer term. How are we doing on our logs over here? We are looking okay. Whoops. Let's make sure we're building that lumber mill. So I've now got the science. I think I might need to go grab one more row here. Yeah, I'm going to need one more row. There we go. All right. In the meantime, I can still at least place my forester. And so I'm going to place this. I'm going to place this back here. I typically like to keep things off of fertile ground as best as possible. So let's put that back there. Hold on. Because I don't want a little jog in the road there. Let me get my forester. Let's flip that. There we go. So now that's back there. And now I'm going to plant. Kind of moving a little fast here. I'm going to plant some pine. So, getting started. Plant pine to start. That what you're going to notice 12 days for 2 logs. On your birch, it's 9 for 1. So just a little bit longer will get you 2 logs. Plant that to start, and then go ahead and get yourself oak. And I'm going to put my oak out. Let's see, where do I want to put my oak? I'm going to put that hemming and hawing here. Really kind of wish I would have put my carrots over here instead of leaving them here. The reason I'm hemming and hawing is because I want to try and keep it away from the edge, especially for that first bad tide, because I don't want to have a whole bunch of them die while we are still growing them. But I also know that I'm going to need space here for more industry. So I think what I'm going to do for the time being is I think I'm going to plant some oak over here. Yeah, let's put that here. Nice, just a nice little batch of oak. There we go. Oak is sort of the gold standard in the game as far as like getting the most logs, because again, 30 days will get you 8. So that's going to be the best math. But again, you got to wait 30 days for that first one. All right. I'm going to have trees here coming relatively quickly. So let's maybe grab another couple of lines here. I hope I'm not making things more difficult for myself, but I do need more logs. To build this, I need 7 planks, and so this needs a worker. Let's just knock this down to 2. There we go. That'll get somebody over here, and then we'll be able to build that, and then we'll get to planting. Beautiful. So we do have our first drought coming in just about 2.5 days. We've already got our dam built up over here, so that will allow us to hang on to water, keep the irrigation. So I'm not too worried about getting through that first one, because the max I think is like 9. I think it's 9 on a drought and 7 on a bad tide. Something like that. Maybe it's a little longer on a bad tide. But on the early ones, it's typically only going to be like 2 or 3 days. And so I'm not going to worry too much about 2 or 3 days, because this is not going to evaporate in 2 to 3 days. Going back to that power, you'll notice this is giving me 256 horsepower with the water flow coming through. So that is plenty to power out a couple more buildings as well. All right, let's get things moving a little faster again here. And our construction lacks materials, and that's just that item right back there. Okay, we are just about, there we go. And we just need a worker there. Let's go ahead and let's do this because I don't want to expand the number of beavers that I have quite yet. So I'm just going to mark this as a lower priority here. So one thing, of course, about growing the number of beavers that you have is then that's going to be more food, more water. Not really what I want quite yet. So instead, what I'm going to do is on my little inventor, I'm going to just make that lower priority. So basically, if there's somebody that's unemployed, they'll go invent stuff. But until then, we're not going to worry about that. It will still show up as a vacant position, but that's all right. Okay, 1 day away from the drought. And there we go, Angie. Go, Angie. I think that's how that we're going to pronounce their name. Angie will go ahead and start planting all of those pine trees for us. Wonderful. So then we will have that effectively limitless supply of pine trees in probably realistically close to about like 14, 15 days because, well, actually I take that back. No, because we're going to hang on to that water. We're going to hang on to this irrigation. So we'll have this in 12 days. That'll be good. So with that being planted now, I'm going to go ahead and mark the rest of this for cutting. I feel pretty confident that we're going to be okay log-wise. Excellent. All right. And there's the drought as promised. Okay. With that being done there, I think we've got our initial setup looking pretty good. As we highlighted, now that we don't have water, we don't have any power here. It's a 3-day drought, kind of as promised. So I think we are going to be okay there. let's get my beavers some additional food, and then I'm going to worry about getting across the river here. So let's plant some potatoes. There we go. And let's put those right. I'm going to move this, I think, before the next bad tide. So I'm just going to put this right to the edge. There we go. Let's get some potatoes going. And then let's get a grill going right back here. And let's make sure that we tell them grilled potatoes. Okay. Actually, I'm going to pause this construction here. I don't want to use the logs quite yet because we're not going to have potatoes for 6 days. So let's hang on to those logs just in case we need them for something else. I think we're looking good. I think we got everything that we wanted, at least to start. We've got that bit of science. We've got our forester over here, and we've got a bit of housing. And I think I feel confident in putting down another lodge. And let's get that. Okay. All right. Before getting across the river, the next thing that I really want to do is I want to get some medium tanks. So the medium tanks are going to give me 300 capacity, so 10 times as much of the small tanks. But the catch is that this is going to need both planks and gears. And we're going to need a bit more science for this. So for a medium tank, that's going to be 120 science. And then for the gears, that's going to be 100. Okay. So let's at least place the gear manufacturer, and let me get a new path. I'm going to be coming back and cleaning all of these paths up. This is a little ugly at the moment, but it'll work. But there's my gears, and let me pause this for the time being, since we're not going to be able to do anything there for a day. So we'll get our gears built out, and then that way we can get our medium tank. Actually, hold on. I think I'm going to change my mind here. Yeah, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to get across the river. Yeah, I'm going to get across the river. See, one of the things that you're going to notice about my style is I do have a propensity to explain things and maybe sometimes over-explain things. But the other very big thing is I don't come in with a plan. So I have a general idea of what I might want to do, but I really do kind of think and decide on the fly. So I really am just kind of changing my mind as we go here. So I think I'm going to get set up over here because I want to get my planting moved over here. I want to get this set up over here. Yeah, I really want to get this area set up. So I'm going to do that. Let's see. I'm curious. How much of these sluices? Where are the sluices? There we are. 400 science. Whoa. That's quite a bit. That's a bummer. That's quite a bit of science. That's going to take me a little bit to get there. I was really hoping to be able to put sluices across here so that way I could block any bad tides from coming into here. But I think that's going to have to wait for a little bit. Yeah, I really want to flood this out and do some aquatic farming in here, but that's going to have to wait. That's going to have to wait. I really want those sluices. I really want those sluices. All right. Let's see. How are we looking on beavers? We got a couple of unemployed beavers here. Let's get some more science. Let's get closer to those sluices. I'm waiting for the comments to tell me how I'm mispronouncing that. I'm okay with it. There we go. In fact, I'm going to build 2 more of these, and let's set both of these to lower priority on the workers. So that way it'll just simply be populated once we have some extra beavers. And yeah, we've got 3 empty beds and 1 baby beaver at the moment. So we are going to be growing there in a little bit. Okay. Our drought finished. Our water wound up being just fine, so we're good there. And we are still waiting for our trees to grow. I think what I'm going to do for the time being, let me pause both of those, since there's nothing over there to chop, and instead, let's go ahead and let's see if I put this here. Yeah, I can get all of these. So let's go ahead and chop that. And then let's chop that. Can we get any further? We can't. Okay. So let's chop all those down. And then that way, we're going to get more logs. And I've got more science going. We're up to 152. Let's go ahead and get our platforms across this. So 100 science. And let's... Actually, hold on. Before I do that, real quick. How much is a suspension bridge? What is this? I would need a 4x1. That's 600. Okay. Yeah. Platforms it is. Let's go ahead and put the platforms across. And then let's build a path across. And yeah. The one advantage to having the suspension bridges go across is so that way when I eventually come through here and dynamite this to get it a bit lower, then I don't have to worry about that. I could just set dynamite right under the suspension bridge. So that's the great advantage that the suspension bridge will give to me. So 109 science. We're getting there. We're getting there. I'm also going to need, how much are my levies? Let's see. Let's come over here and demolish my buildings. Yes, and let's see. How much are levies? 120? Yeah. So let's go ahead and get my levies set up there. These are actually relatively cheap, 12 logs to do. And let's get a... Actually, I'm not going to build a path yet because I want to start getting my farming and everything over here as promised. So what I'm going to do is, even though it's not a lot in the way of logs, I'm going to go ahead and chop them down anyway. Let me get a lumberjack flag. There we go. And then let's cut all of those down. There we go. We're looking pretty good here. What do we need? Oh, hey. I'm going to actually have some planks to be able to get across here. Got to make sure I'm actually producing planks. Let's get that back to life. We get producing some planks. That'll help. Okay. I love the little hammer animation. That makes me happy. Okay. Just kind of looking around, make sure, A, that I'm not forgetting anything, I am forgetting something. I do have a beaver with a broken tooth. We could see that icon as he went going by. So let's get a teeth grindstone. We'll just tuck that right down there. And I'm going to prioritize the building of that. So that way we can get that set up right away. How close are our potatoes? We're just about ready. So let's get that going. And I don't want to quite yet start making more beavers. If you've not played Folktales, the way that you make baby beavers is by, well, having empty beds that based on the empty beds, they will then go ahead and procreate, and then you will wind up with baby beavers. So, which I really like the way that mechanic works, because it really gives me a finite level of control over the number of beavers that I have. So it really helps me then control that population. So right now I'm sitting okay. That we've got 17 occupied beds. So, well, we could also have added that, but 17 total beavers. And if I want to make space for 3 more, I could go ahead and build a house. But I'm going to hold off on doing that for the time being, because I don't want to accidentally wind up growing a bit too fast. Okay. Looks like most of our birch are just about done. That is, yeah, both of those I'm not going to worry about. And I'm not going to worry about that either. Perfect. All right, so once we're done chopping down those 3, I'm just going to remove the other ones, and then let's get our farming moved across the river. Give me a farmhouse. Let's go ahead and pause that, and then give me a farmhouse. Let's see. There we go. Perfect. Okay. And so now let me demolish that, and that. And now let's go ahead and beavers are getting happier and happier. Let's go ahead and plant some food. So what I'm going to do, I think for the time being, is I'm going to put carrots over here. I think that's what I want to do. Yeah. So I'm going to keep this off of that edge there, because eventually I'm going to want to put in some barriers up there. And then let's go ahead and put in some potatoes as well. And we'll go all the way down with our potatoes. There we go. And let's delete that lumberjack flag. Okay. And then the other thing that I'm going to do is let's stop planting through here, and let's get this built right away. Let's see, how am I looking on food? I'm going to be all right on food. I'm not going to worry. I am not going to worry. Can't get all the required... Oh! Hey, silly. You need to turn those back on so you can start cutting down some trees again. Here we go. And then... Yeah, now all these are going to pop. There we go. It was like perfect timing. I planned it that way. It's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to let this, let's see, I can pause that now. I think I'm going to let this finish building and start getting some crops planted over here. I'm going to finish this migration over here to the other side. And then I have all these trees I can cut down. Yeah, let's hold off on that. I think I'm going to need some more beavers before I start doing that. Yeah, let's knock this down to 1, and let's make sure, yeah, that we've got somebody planting over on the other side. Okay. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this finish out and get like all of that migrated over. And then I think that's going to be a perfect place to maybe call this an episode. That we've got our initial setup done. We're up and running. That we've got our own trees going. We've got our own food growing. We've already moved to the other side of the map. So all of that is looking hunky-dory. Let's get these. I'm not going to worry about the one log. It's fine. Let's get that demolished. But we've already got our trees growing. We've already got our food growing. We've already opened up this area over here. So everything's looking pretty good. We got a bit of science rolling, so we'll be able to get our sluices. Super excited. Get those set up. Those don't require gears or anything silly, do they? No, just planks. Oh no, they require metal. Ah, shucks. Oh, that's a bummer. I'm going to have to go all the way over there to go get my metal. Ah, shucks. All right. Well, that stinks. I mean, I suppose it's fine. Okay. I guess that'll be a next episode thing. In the meantime, I'm crestfallen. I'm so disappointed. In the meantime, I'm gonna let this finish out here. Maybe once the drought starts, I think that'll be a perfect spot to end the episode. And then in the next one, I'm gonna worry about getting some metal and building that out. I am probably over prioritizing building out those sluices, but I just want to see them in action. I just want to see them work. So anyway, yeah. While this is all finishing out, if you like the episode, like, subscribe, comment, do all of the things. I also want to highlight the fact that if you want to support the channel, if you could donate to my fundraiser, I'm raising money for the American Cancer Society. You can see that link in the description down below. That would mean the world. I am going to, because this is the first sort of official episode, since this is now with Update 6, I am going to be setting up some level of reward tiers of putting names into the game, and also maybe doing something where you could choose a map or punish me with hard mode or other things. But all that will be coming. But please consider donating, and you can find that link. And yeah, got one more day here till that drought. We're almost done over here. Can you reach? How far can you reach? You can't quite reach over there. That's all right. And I've got, yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm just kind of poking around and looking. We are almost done. Once these carrots get pulled, then we're good. Look at their little hats. They've got little hats. It's so cute. And again, the animations now have been updated so that it now looks better. It looks like they're, picking away, and then now they're carrying the little box of potatoes back over to here. Pretty slick. All right. Almost done. We'll let that finish. And if you made it to the end, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for watching either way. But of course, if you didn't make it to this part of the video, you didn't hear that. All right. And we are going to have a 3-day drought? Question mark? Survey says 4-day drought. All right. Perfect place to end the episode. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.